teams are starting to make decisions on head coaches, and we're starting to see a landscape of teams that are going to need a coach in this offseason. And one prospective coach that threw his hat back in the ring is your former head coach, Pete Carroll. He's come out and expressed, I guess, interest in the Bears job. Do you think it's realistic that Pete comes back, one, and do you think that's a good fit with the Bears and Pete Carroll?
I think somebody, I can't remember who tweeted it, but they said people need to be more focused on culture builders instead of quarterback builders. And I think that's a really important distinction because there are quarterback coaches that can help build your quarterback up and help him be more effective, more efficient, and all that good stuff. But the rest of your team struggles. And you got a good quarterback without the rest of your team develop. What made Jim Harbaugh special was developing the entire culture of the organization. And from the outside in, you can see what he did at Stanford. You can see what he did at Michigan. You can see what he did at San Francisco 49ers. You can see what he did at UC San Diego. And it's hiring great coaches, enforcing the fundamentals, enforcing the rules and structure of the organization that you desire, understanding your players, understanding your staff, and relating to them, speaking to them, understanding them, listening. And Pete Carroll does all those things. He's going to maximize the abilities of his players, both defensively and offensively. He's going to get guys that fit the scheme that he desires to play. He's going to get coaches around that are really great at their jobs, that coach the way that he would like to see them coach. You've seen that he's had success in his tree around the league. Guys leaving the Seattle Seahawks and going to be coordinators or head coaches elsewhere. And although they may not have been set up the best way, Dan Quinn left the Seattle Seahawks and went to the Super Bowl the first year as a head coach. Not many guys can say they've done that, but he deserves a chance to at least build the culture and show that, hey, it can be done this way still. And I think a lot of guys, a lot of organizations, and a lot of coaches have taken notes from what he's done and what he did with our Seattle Seahawks teams and the way he built us and the way that we were talked about and the way we talked about him and the nuances of the inside the building activities that allow them to continue to be successful. And that's playing music in the locker room, playing music on the field, allowing there to be looseness before meetings, playing fun videos, et cetera, just the little things that go into making the mundane things a little bit more fun, a little bit more exciting, a little bit more eventful. And I think that if he gets a chance, he'll do great with Caleb Williams. He'll run the football well, have a great coach to help him develop further in his skill set, allow that defense, who's really talented, to continue to thrive and flourish in what they do well. Jalen Johnson, one of the best corners in the National Football League, to continue to flourish in his job and his responsibility. And I think, although it may not be the trendy pick, it's the pick that will likely get them further than they have been.
We've got another game on Monday night. We already alluded to it earlier. The San Francisco 49ers take on my hometown Detroit Lions. Here's the deal with Detroit. With Minnesota winning this game today against the Packers, tomorrow night's game is relatively meaningless. So my question starts with you. With number one, if you're Dan Campbell, how do you treat this situation? Do you rest your starters and gear them up for Minnesota? Because really that's all that matters. They need to beat Minnesota in the final week of the season in order to secure the 1 seed, regardless of the outcome of tomorrow night's game. So how do you handle this with Dan Campbell? Do you expect to see the full starters out there for the full game?
I can't expect anything other than what Dan Campbell said he's going to bring. He said he's going to empty the clip. He says he's bringing everything they got, and they're putting it out there. They're not holding anything back. They don't care about the results of any other game. They have this one circled on their schedule since the game last year, NFC Championship, when they lost. And the schedule was announced. So I expect them to come out there and give their all and bring their best to the fight. I think the San Francisco 49ers are going to have a few tricks up their sleeve, and they're going to play a very loose game and try to give Detroit all they can handle. But if Detroit continues to play as they have been, it'll be a game where they can pull out a very comfortable win. But again, this is a very talented San Francisco, very prideful San Francisco 49ers team. So I would not be surprised if they put up a fight and this end up a one-possession game late into the fourth quarter. And then you gotta stress about, then you wonder if Dan Campbell is going to do everything he can to win this game, put his guys in harm's way. I don't know, but I think winning is winning. And I think he's going to want to win this football game to give his guys the best chance moving forward and to make sure that they're ready for that Minnesota Vikings game. The only way you get through this season It's keep sharpening iron. Iron sharpens iron. You can't sit there and rest your guys and think they're going to be ready next week, unnecessarily resting them. That just doesn't make sense. That's not how football works.